Good morning, friends. I'm going to be making today the cross purse, and I've already started, as you can see. Uh, I did the first step, which is the placement for the zipper and the outline of the bag. Let me see if you can see that. And what I'm going to do is take my zipper and place it right between these two lines, what I call the runway. And I'm going to do that right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've taped my zipper down both at the top and at the bottom, and a piece there on the right side in the middle. So I'm going to take this to the embroidery machine, and the next step we'll tack down the zipper. Be right back. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I have the zipper has been tacked down, so it's secured firmly in place. I'm going to now take the hoop and turn it over to the back side and take my first lining piece, placing it face down. Let me see if I can get this. Here's the tack down where the zipper will be tacked down, or well, the zipper is tacked down, but this is also going to be the line that you want to be careful and watch, because you want to stick your lining piece about a 1/4 inch below this bottom line here. So let me pull that down. Okay, I think that's fine, and let me see, we're fine on this side. Here's the line on this side, and here's the line also of the exterior on that side. So let's tape that down. One in the middle and one on each end. Okay, and then let's just lift your hoop and let that roll over, this piece of lining fabric roll over to the front as you turn your hoop over. And let me get a piece of tape, and we want to take this excess part of the back lining and fold it over like this and tape it down where it cannot move, because it's going to be there for several steps. We want it to stay out of the way. So that's done, and let's take our main front fabric and now place it right basically the edge of the zipper, because it's going to stitch right here where we see that prior stitching. So let's cover that up. Well, get down there, you. Okay. And I'll take and do the same thing here. Center and on both sides, place some tape. And then I'll take it to the embroidery machine, and we'll have a row of stitches will be sewn right across here, which will secure this front piece and the back piece, aligning it at the same time. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have sewn this down, you can see right here, and I've checked the back side to make sure it's been sewn down, and it has. So everything is good there. So the next step is I'm going to take what I'm using for batting and place it right underneath this row of stitches, about a 1/4 inch, and then take the front piece, main fabric, and pull it down, smooth it down, and then take it to the iron and iron it down so it has a nice crease along the edge here. And I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back from the iron, and you can see it has a nice crease there, pulled away from the zipper so it won't get caught. And the next step in the embroidery machine will be for a stitching to go directly under the zipper here, down the sides, across the bottom, and up this side. And that will just simply hold that in place, both the top fabric and the batting that's underneath there and covered, because we're going to have quite a bit of satin stitching and some light quilting to do. So I'll show you that next step, and then I'll be back just momentarily. Okay, I'm back, and now you can see that the exterior sewing has been done to hold this top two pieces down all the way around right under the zipper. So the next step will be the actual satin stitching, and that'll take probably 15-20 minutes, so I'll be back as soon as I can. Okay, I'm back, and this has stitched out the beautiful cross and the pretty delicate flowers on the sides. And now what's going to happen next is there's some pretty quilting that's going to go right in here, right inside the cross. That won't take just a minute or so, and I'll be right back. All right, you can see now that the quilting in the center of the cross has been completed. The next thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a line of satin stitching, which is going to go basically follow this line already across the top here, and it's going to cover the ends of the satin stitch here on both sides, because I don't like it to end that way. I like it to be covered and have a finished look over here on the sides. Of course, it doesn't matter because that's going to be in the seam. It's going to be, so that's not going to be an issue. But let me go and run this next step, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, the satin stitching is now complete. I think it looks really pretty. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn down the lining piece and take off this tape. Oops. Let the lining piece fall back to the back where it belongs. And I'm going to take, oh, this is not easy. I'm going to take and I'm going to tape it down right here and over on this side. So let me do that, and then I'll take it to the sewing machine, and this will be then tacked down. Let me take these off too. I never remember to do that. So anyhow, when I take it to the sewing machine, it's going to stitch around here right under the zipper, which the zipper is right here, and it's going to stitch on all sides here and tack this back piece of lining down. So let me go do that. Be right back. Alrighty, I'm back, and that has been the back lining has been stitched down, and it of course stitched right over the satin stitching. And I wish I would have put some purple in my top thread, then it would have made a beautiful line of purple stitching there over the gold, but I never thought about it. So if you make this bag, you might want to think about doing that. Anyhow, the next step we're going to do is I'm going to take this off, take that piece of tape off. I'm going to open, if I can, with one hand. Come on. Well, let me try the other hand. Okay. Move the zipper about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way over, and I've made my little connectors for a crossbody strap if you should like to put one of those on, and I'm going to figure out a place to put both of them. I usually put them about 1 inch inside. Line the metal piece to, in this case I'll line it to the satin stitch, and I'll tape it down at the top here, and I'll tape it here, and I'll put the second one on, and I always take and this is a piece of grosgrain ribbon. It's 3 inches long. I always take and staple it at the top to hold them together, and it'll be way out of the stitch line. The last rows of stitches will go about midway between the zipper coil itself and the top of the zipper, basically where the line is already of stitching, the tack down line for the zipper. So anyhow, let me tape that down, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now that is, I've taped those down, I'm going to take my, this will be the back fabric, same fabric as the front, but for the back, and I'm going to make sure I cover all sides, leaving a little bit at the bottom. There's a stitch line there, so definitely there's going to be some left over, and I want to make sure that I cover the zipper at the top by 1/4 inch or so, and then I'm going to take my piece of batting, or what I'm using as batting, lay it down there and carefully smooth it over, and then I'm going to take it to the machine right now and tack this down. It'll go all the way around the exterior of the bag, and then we'll just have one more step to go after this, and it'll be completed. So I'll be right back. Okay, I've completed that task, and so it has in these two pieces, the lining, or I'm sorry, the batting, and this piece, which is the back piece, they have been now tacked down on all sides. And if I didn't mention it, which I don't think I did, this piece of back exterior piece should have been placed face down if it was something that had a pattern on it. So this solid color obviously makes it easy. It doesn't matter which way you put it, but if it was a pattern, it should be face down, and you should make sure that the orientation is correct for the pattern also. But our last thing we're going to do as far as sewing is turn the hoop over, and we're going to take our last piece of lining, put it face down, where, as in almost all sewing, right sides together. So let me make sure I'm covered up here, which I almost wasn't. I want to make sure I'm covered the zipper, and I have a little bit left over at the bottom also, so that should be fine. And I'll tape it down on all 4 corners and take it to the sewing machine and do the last step, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, I have run the last step of the purse, and here I've turned it over to the back hoop. This is the back of the hoop, and this is the lining piece that I just placed taped on, and it has now been tacked down on all 3 sides, but left a place for me to turn the bag through. So I'm going to take it out of the hoop and go to a chair and sit by the trash can, and I'm going to take a sharp knife and go around all 3 sides here, And when I get to this opening area, I'll leave quite a bit left. I'll leave quite a bit left down here because I will be tucking this in and getting it out of the way. So let me go and do that, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, I've done my cutting and here's the space left so I can turn the bag in a moment. And I always want to tell you to you've got 2 pieces of lining, but the rest of this, there's the 2 pieces of lining right here. The rest of this stuff can be cut off, so just take your scissors and grab this part right here and cut it about 1/4 inch from the stitch line, because it's not serving a purpose at this point. You don't want to turn that into the bag and just be a bunch of unnecessary bulkiness. So let me stop and do that. Now I've trimmed all of that unnecessary bulkiness away, and I'm just left with the 2 pieces of the lining fabric, and I'm going to turn the purse with this inside out, and so let me do that. Hold on. Okay, I have turned it inside out, and now we're seeing the lining pieces should be on both sides. That's what you should be seeing. I'm going to take my fingernail and remove this over the zipper, which is just paper towels, so it's easy to do. And so let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've taken and peeled that off. There's still a little bit left, but that would be left whether you use no-show mesh or whatever, right up the top here. But it's held down by the sewing. So you could take maybe the seam ripper and get in there and get rid of that, but I'm not concerned with it. It should be fine. And then now I'm going to take and turn each piece in like this and fold that over, and I'll do this at the iron where I can press everything nicely, but it'll look something like that. So let me go to the iron and do that. Then I'm going to take just go to the regular sewing machine, and I'm going to sew the bag closed right here along the edge. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, I have taken the sewing machine and sewed a seam right along the edge there. So it's you can't hardly see it on this side right here, and it should be fine. It should last. So I'm going to take now and set the phone down and reach in through here and turn it inside out, and I'll show you what it looks like in a moment. Okay, it has been completed, and I think it's just beautiful. I'm going to give it another good little pressing, but I think it will look great and be perfect to hold some religious items in, or just as a pocketbook, purse. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial, and I thank you for being with me today, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow with another pattern and another tutorial. Thank you.